Yeah, what up? It's Chris from Black Land Ownership. I hope you're doing well. I'm down here in DC and I want to show y'all. Yeah, what up? It's Chris from Black Land Ownership. I hope you're doing well. I'm down here in DC and I want to show y'all some of the new things that are starting to improve. Um, like until we can take down the old shelves and repaint everything, I've started setting up the showroom for the wood and the crystals, and I'll show you some of what we have over here. Let me turn the camera around. All right. So over here, we have some of the wood that I've been making. And this is black walnut, and you can see the feet on that. I have two of these type of tables, and all of the wood you see, I either milled or cut after milling it, or we purchased from a guy that had a wood shop he was closing, and so we got this cedar from him. But then I did the shaping and the sanding and planing and everything. But I personally hand involved made these tables. Like obviously, this is some of it is a bit more experimental and is more fun if you're up for it, and some is more standard. We have the standard legs. So if you have any questions, I can go through. But we have black walnut, we have cedar, red cedar, that's aromatic. We have more cedar, that's aromatic here. Then over this, I think this was some of the beech that we had from before. Then maple, cedar, and cedar over there. And then we have some ornament pieces. Or like if, you need to have the charcuterie, you break out the cheese plates or what have you. We have these. And then on this side, I really like this one. This is more of a ornamental piece. Like I wouldn't really use this to sit on, but I like how it looks. It's very good for being in the cut in the apartment. And I will be making some that have some of my artwork epoxied onto it. And so this piece is the wood joint, but then it has some of the artwork epoxy. And each one of these is a portrait that I take. I do the graphic design. So I collage the photos, then do the epoxy over top of it. We also have the plain wood pieces here. And so there'll be a lot of wood. I'll be showcasing wood in this space until I can get it sold and until the weather's nice enough to be back outside. What we like to do is put the wood out in the yard, and as people walk by or drive by, they stop and check out what we're working on. Then when you're finished checking out the wood, we have some of our merchandise from Black Land Ownership. We have the awesome, when I was going out to Arizona, sweatshirts. And so this is the Western celebration of Black Land Ownership, safety orange sweatshirts, and mostly in small sizes. We have a lot of smalls, and so this is for get the young people good presents. Then we have the original logo Black Land Ownership t-shirt in black with the green writing. And we do have some like grown folk size and some small sizes. Then we have the in segregation t-shirt in multiple sizes, like that's mediums and larges. But this is part of our campaign to raise awareness about restrictive covenants. And so I'll talk about this just momentarily. With Black Land Ownership, one of the main things that we do is gather, centralize, and share information with people. And there are a lot of folks who will tell you, well, you need to do stuff. You need to do stuff. Well, before you do something about the disparity when it comes to history of land ownership and black folks in this country, 58% of privately owned rural land is owned by people of European descent. And you say, well, that doesn't make sense. They only make up 62% of the population. How is it that percentile-wise more black folks in 1890 owned land than now? That shouldn't be possible. But it is. And if you want to do something about that, there are folks who are like, take immediate action. And one of our things is, wait, let's research. Like, let's actually not fight, not take flight, not freeze, but let's assess. Let's actually analyze. Let's take what information's available and figure out how we got to this scenario to then get ourselves out of it or to create a new path moving forward. And one element that came up is you talk to people about why there's so few black folks with large amounts of land, or why there's so few black homeowners in comparison to other cultures in the United States of America. And you often get a number of answers that place the responsibility, burden, or blame on the marginalized group, in this case being black folks, of, well, black people don't have enough money to own property or land, or black people don't have good credit, or black people haven't been taught how to save or prepare financially. We don't get the tools. Or the banks and redlining have stopped people in the past, and that influences generational wealth. What people don't say is, well, in modern day, in 2025, developers are still racist. The banks still work on a racist system, and the credit system is inherently racist. People don't say, if you look at a map of where black people lived in 1865, 1890, and now, the Great Migration never really happened. Like, yes, a lot of people left the South and went to Chicago, went to St. Louis, went to Detroit, went to D.C., Philadelphia, New York, certain parts of California, certain parts of Nevada. But when you really look at the map, 60 to 70% of black people still live in the same 12 to 13 states we were living in 1890. And why is it? It's not as if we had no opportunities to go other places. It's because those other places implemented restrictive covenants and stopped black people from owning land. And you can look into this. Every single state, 49 out of 50, actually, not every single state, 49 out of 50 states implemented restrictive covenants. The one state that did not implement racially based restrictive covenants was Hawaii. And it was brought into the union after you could no longer create restrictive covenants based on race. But during that time period, you could still enforce them. So there were laws put in place in municipalities, counties, of 49 out of 50 states that said black people can't live in this part of the county, the town, the city, or what have you. Some states at certain points were entirely sundown states for black people, and black people were not allowed to live in them as full-time citizens or residents. Free blacks, right? So when you look at the history of restrictive covenants, it wasn't just Jim Crow laws that implemented this notion of segregation. There were, because Jim Crow seemed to be only implemented in the South or the Deep South. There were expressions of extreme racism where you have the Ku Klux Klan. What we see when it comes to land ownership is in Maine, they have restrictive covenants. In Oregon, in Washington State, in Vermont, in New Hampshire, in Rhode Island, in all these places that were supposed to be free-oriented, were in no way connected to slavery in the South, there were still prohibitions on black people being able to purchase, own, retain, exchange, or pass on land to the next generation. So when you look at our contemporary situation, we still live in very segregated worlds. If you were to, like, whoever's watching this, if you were to think about the neighborhood in which you grew up, how diverse was it? I mean, a lot of people will say, oh, I went to a diverse high school, and it means there were like 10% people were black, or like the total percentage of diversity was 20%. There are so many places around the country where even if there are black folks in the town or the city, they live in a separate part of the town or city than the Spanish folks, or I should say Latinx folks, Spanish-speaking folks, which live in a different part of the town than the white folks. And you very rarely find residential neighborhoods that are diverse. You will find commercial areas, or you'll find like these new trendy art areas where you have a mix of businesses and people in high density. Like maybe you'll get some diversity there. But when you think about residential living, it's still very segregated. And so we printed these shirts to bring awareness to contemporary segregation and to then reveal the history of land ownership in America. We are Black land ownership. Like, that's the name of it, Black land ownership. Like, our focus is people of African descent in America are essentially landless people. And once you just get to that level of it, you have to ask, well, how are black folks in the U.S. landless people? How does land ownership and what is the history of land possession in the U.S.? And you immediately uncover, well, what happened to the indigenous people and the people that were here before the Europeans? So in that dispossession, in that removal, in that genocide, there is then an understanding of solidarity of it's not just black land ownership. Black land ownership ties us into what's the history of landless people. So that could be the First Nation or indigenous folks in the U.S. That could be Kurds. That could be the Roma, right? And various groups of people that have been dispossessed of land and then forced to move to places where they didn't want to be.
it opens up questions of how folks in the 50s, 60s, 70s, if they were queer and overtly queer, how they were treated by banking institutions, how they were prohibited from having access to land. It brings up questions of if you were trans, how you have access to land and the way society might stifle your ability to live the quote unquote American dream. So although it's Black land ownership, one of the first things you get into is an understanding of how many different groups of people were marginalized and the different ways in which people are marginalized. So when we say in segregation, it's to also in this government imposed, business imposed, hegemonic, I would say like transaction based, extraction based model, so that we want to be around people that are different. We want to be around folks that haven't been doing the same thing forever and that can exchange new ideas. And as Black land ownership, we want to work with any community members that are focused on equity, focused on rectifying whatever historical imbalance is taking place. So we make it very clear. When you see the Black land ownership sweatshirts and t-shirts, you know what we're talking about. When you see the in-segregation merchandise, you know what we're talking about. And we want people to ask, like, why would you have a t-shirt that says in segregation? Like, segregation ended in the 60s. But it didn't. Like, in reality, when you hang out at your college, when you go to your local bar, when you are at work, notice how many people end up just hanging out with people who are like them in whatever capacity. All right, and then we got the Black land ownership original logo sweatshirts in black. These are hoodies. Both the orange and the black sweatshirts are hoodies. Now, what else can I show y'all? Oh, we also got this piece from Black land ownership. I like this one over here. You can argue about sports, entertainment, politics, beliefs, or stay focused, Black land ownership. That's our tagline, stay focused. Now, on to the lovely things over here. We also have crystals. We brought our crystals back down from New York. If you know us from Gamba, you know that we had a 15 to 20 person gathering spot where we sold crystals, home decor. We recorded, podcasted, had live shows. It was a lovely space. Good time in Greenpoint. But part of what made Gamba really special is we had a lot of crystals. The whole wall on one side was crystals, another stand was all crystals. And for about 3 to 4 years, we were pretty heavy into going out to Arizona, going out to New Jersey, to different crystal and gem shows and picking up really awesome pieces. So we brought them down to DC, and you can see we have this clear quartz here, and a bunch of it is very nicely sized. Like we got geodes, clear quartz geode, very large, that's heavy. Preonite, and this is so awesome. I don't know if you've ever really checked preonite. More clear quartz from Arkansas. We got this when we went out to Quartzsite, Arizona. Got some Mexican quartz, have some calcite here, another clear quartz geode. And then we have some special joints. This is some agate like you've never seen. Yeah. So you probably see the agate slices. This is one of the agate geodes. And we have a couple different sizes of those. We have some apophyllite here, which is from India. We have some albite and mica. And the mica is the little flecks, like the little metallic flecks you'll see in there. The albite is the white portion of it. Then Jackery quartz. Some really ferrous material on this clear quartz from Arkansas. So depending on the style that you like, this one is very unique. This is raw. This is actually what a lot of the quartz looks like before it gets either polished or gets sandblasted or gets hit it with the water pressure to clean it off. So you get this ferrous iron material. This is not dirt. If you were to try to scratch this off with your fingers and keep rubbing it, you actually like kind of abrade your finger because it is tiny, tiny, tiny kind of elements that make up iron. So it's rough. Like this is not just dirt. You can't clean this off with a toothbrush. This is its natural state when you pull it out of the ground. That's not clay. That's not dirt. That is iron. And then more jackery, or what people will call cathedral quartz. And then we have some smaller pieces. If you're more like a $10 to $20 shopper, we have some celestite. We have some small quartz joints. Like this one was $35. We probably run it on sale for the good people. And then some other nice little, ooh, hello there. How you doing? Yeah. Let me get the lighting back over here. Yep. So then
And this one is kind of special. It's the chocolate course. You haven't really seen that. So then any crystals, you got to really come see these in person and let the vibes hit you. And then we have artwork. So in the new space, I will be showing art. Right now it's not hung, but we're getting ready to start displaying some of the art that I've made. These are canvas prints of digital designs that I made on, what are these? 14 by 20, most likely. And then we have some smaller joints that are 8 by 8. Some bigger ones that are 30 by 20. And this one's fun. Hold on, let me see if I can show you this without messing other things up. So I made this piece. I don't normally do graphic designs like this, but I wanted to do one about how everyone is mad at everyone else. And so if you know about the Spider-Man meme, it's everyone blaming everyone. So you have the Muslims, the Jews, the Christians, the anarchists, the media, the environmentalists. You got communists, capitalists. Of course, you got the police, military-industrial complex. There's a couple of folks in there. The Illuminati, a couple of them as well. Bankers. Can't forget the colonists, Democrats, Republicans, atheists, everybody. You know, the conspiracy theorists, they got to get representation in here. Scientists. And everyone's pointing at everybody else, blaming everyone else for whatever's going wrong in the world. But you see me, I'm all the way over here in the cut, like just turned away. I'm really not trying to be involved in that. Definitely see the entertainers, big ass distractions. And I don't know why, somebody need to ask Ja Rule what he thinks about this scenario. And then we have pieces up here. But again, you really got to come see this stuff in person to get the vibes and to fully understand the texture of that canvas and to see the depth, the personality in these images. I really like this one though. And then I have a couple more over here. Let's see. So we're going to get these hanging. Like right now, I just needed to get stuff up just so I could see what I had. And so these, I did some laser etching on wood with some of the Black Land Ownership logos. So I will be breaking these down and making like little keychains out of these. And some of the artwork I converted into these laser etchings, which came out pretty dope. And then we have these 8 by 8 photos for sale. And so it's just a start. Like I'm just getting set up. Just getting the space organized. We're gonna repaint. We're gonna structure this and like set it up more like a gallery. But for now, this is a starting point. And the final portion I can show you are more books. So these are photo books. I'm not going to take these out of the packaging, but these are hardcover photo books with, how many pages do we have here? 22 pages on one of them. And then I have 20 books. There are probably 6 different types of books that I printed. And these are all some of these are graphic designs that I've been working on that are a mix of photos that I take that I then do the graphics on. I'll show you one a bit more up close. So in each one of these images, I take a photo of a person. So that's Erica. This is Emily. Then this is the homie Nina. And so I take the portraits, then design or overlap with other photos I've taken or other designs that I've made. So this is a mix of a photo I shot of the young lady in the keffiyeh and American flag while nude, and then did the overlap of the graphic design, making some of the design work in Midjourney, but nothing you see as a final product comes out of Midjourney. So if you think about it, right, I do collage work. So I take the photo of the person, you see the eye in there. There's a real photograph that I take of the person, and then using Midjourney, I'll design certain elements of a graphic design, then pull it into Photoshop and cut and paste and change it all around. So nothing here came out of Midjourney. AI cannot make this. AI cannot replicate this. That's a photo I took, and then I make different designs using Midjourney or using Photoshop or using collage of various techniques, and then make a new design and image with all of it. And each one of these photos, there's a human that's an awesome artist or performer. Like if you were to ask me about each one of these images, I could tell you about who's in them and what kind of cool stuff they do. Shout out to Mandy. If you know about Mandy from Mandyland, that's the homie. If you know about Aston Martin, that's the homie. So there's a lot of good work in here. And I have 4 or 5 like copies of each book, but then 5 or 6 different books. So depending on what style you're into and what kind of imagery you're into, you can see some of it's more abstract where you can't really see the person. Some of it is very, very photorealistic. Some black and white. Some very colorful. And there is a person in there. So yeah, that's the preview of what's going to be going on down here. And I wanted to share that with you. Like, I am still making art. I'm not posting a whole lot on social media about the art that I'm making, and I'm not promoting and marketing via social media to a great extent. I'm not super interested in my content that I spend weeks, days, months, hours, who knows, making and years developing as like who I am as a person. I'm not really big on giving all that stuff to social media for free. And with more recent changes in terms of agreement where anything you put up on your social media can basically be used in the future by the company that owns it or other people who somehow have the ability to license it, I'm not interested in that. I'd rather people license directly from me. I want people to use my work. I sample, I make collage work. So I don't mind people using my work, but I want it to be people. Like I want it to be individuals and they can come get it from me. Like if I make a song and someone wants to sample it, hit me up. Like if you want to remix it, hit me up. If I design something and you're a painter and you're like, yo, I want to make a painting that's based on that photograph I saw that you made, hit me up. I'd much rather that than Meta being able to somehow broker that and then I don't get any money from it or any awareness that people are using it or any connection to whatever new audience is being built based on the design that I may have originated. And I'm more and more, I want to take the time now in this section to explain, like, I want my art to be human to human, or at least human to universe. Like I share my art with the birds and the squirrels sometimes. I rap to when the groundhogs are running around in the front yard of the rabbits and there's no one there. So it doesn't even have to be human to human. But I also have to be honest with myself. Like I do enjoy the connectivity of when you share emotions with people. And rap is an amazing conduit for that ability to share. It's when it comes to freestyling, you get a room with people who all freestyle together. I love that. I love the improvisation, totally spontaneous and in the moment kind of exchange of feeling and thinking and being. And the ability to lock in and just be zoned out while you freestyle. So my art is completely tied to that connectivity. It's tied to that interpersonal engagement. It's tied to, like, yeah, I spend a lot of time thinking by myself. I spend a lot of time writing by myself. I spend a lot of time freestyling by myself. I spend a lot of time reading and learning and practicing by myself. But that's all to allow for me to have a connective experience when I share my art. Like, I'm not a person that wants to just perform the art and then leave. I'm not the type of person that wants to like showcase what I do. I actually don't even, most of my friends, I'm almost never like, yo, listen to the new thing I'm recording. Like I make stuff all the time and I don't show anybody. So a big part of it is for me. But when I do decide to share my art, the whole point is hopefully it makes the life experience more fulfilling and rewarding for a person that encounters the art. And that doesn't mean they immediately like it. Like I don't make art for people to like it or tell me that I'm good. I make it because I'll probably go crazy if I don't make the art. But it's really amazing that I live in a time and a space and have been given the influences and been around enough people to encourage me so that some of the stuff I make people like. Some of the stuff I make people want to pay for. And if I just make enough stuff, I don't have to worry about who likes what and how much will I get paid. I just put it out in the world and the money comes back from it, hopefully, right? But in real life, kind of, like if you make dope shit, put it out in the world, then if you are oriented to generating revenue does come from it. And more, I want the revenue to be very simple, where I do a show, you pay for a ticket. You want to book me to do the show, you got to pay me to come to where the thing is. If I make a graphic design for somebody and
they have a $5,000 budget for graphics, then I'm supposed to get a part of that budget. If they're an independent artist, they have no money and they have no budget, and I choose to work with them, well then that's going to be because I personally support and love what they do. And that means, if you know me, I don't like a whole lot of stuff so much that I want to work for free. But it should make sense that I still want to do the work though. Like if folks are dope, I don't want money to be a barrier of engagement. And in my own art, we've done plenty of shows where if you don't have the money, you can still come into the show. I've been running my merch table and I'm selling books, I'm selling t-shirts, what have you. And there's a person who was really, really vibing during the show. They had talked to me afterwards and shared really personal elements and emotional experiences they've had tied to the music that we're talking about. And at the end of the day, I'm like, oh yeah, I got the books. They're like, yo, I didn't bring any cash, bro. Like, I'm already struggling for rent. I give them the book. Like, if anything, while they're struggling to figure out how to pay rent, I would want my art to be inspirational. I wouldn't want them to have to go deeper into some feeling of stress or being in debt in order to enjoy my art. The internet and the technology is not making it more awesome for most people involved in art. Now, for me, it's awesome that I can share this stuff and I can record my music. I literally can wake up, turn on my computer, sample something off the internet, record myself on my computer, put it on the internet, and then email it around the world all within a 5-hour time period. That's amazing. I'm old enough to remember where if you wanted to record, someone had to have a studio. Like, I'm old enough to where people weren't really, but at my level, people were still recording on ADATs. People were still recording on 4-track, Tascams. Now, I'm talking about mid to late 90s. No one had a home computer that you could record on that I knew. Even if you went to the studio, it took mad long to do everything just because the equipment back in 2000 was not what it is now. So now that we have all this technology, I want to utilize it. I want to implement it. I want to take advantage and know how to use the equipment. So I work with Logic. I work with GarageBand. I work with Pro Tools. I work with the drum machines, whether it's a Kai, Korg. I want to know how to use the SP404. I want to understand how the analog equipment works, and I want to understand how the digital works. But I'm also in a space of, without any technology, humans have been sharing their thoughts and feelings and art through spoken word and through vibration and sound for tens of thousands of years. So I don't need a computer to do that. I don't need a computer to connect with people on my art or music. I don't need to promote or market on the internet. It's not necessary in order for me to make art. For some reason, it can feel as if or market on the internet. It's not necessary in order for me to make art. For some reason, it can feel as if no one will know who you are. It's not chasing trends. It's not following guidebooks. It's literally my exploration of self and the world through this audio medium. And the things that I want to rap about aren't going to be fun and easy and accessible. I don't want to make art that is easily digestible if that means it's meaningless. I would love if somehow the way I thought and felt and conveyed information to people was received easily by other people. And they were like, yeah, we want to give you a bunch of money for it. Yeah, we want to invite you to do more shows. Yeah, we'll do cool things in our lives because you've inspired us through your art or music. I would love that. But if that never happens, I'm supposed to still be happy just writing the verse. I'm supposed to be happy just spitting the verse. I'm supposed to be happy just tinkering on my drum machine and spending 3 hours hearing what happens when you bend a sine wave using attenuators and modular synthesis equipment. The point is to do it, and for me, it's also to do it with people. And so doing shows with people, performing with people, jamming with people, improvising with people, going to the studio and not necessarily having, we're gonna make a song, but yo, play some beats, dog, like play some sounds, let's make a beat live, like let's sample each other. I'm really interested in the life experience as a part of your music expression and your musical journey. So the internet's not so great for that. The saturation, the disposability, the lack of taking seriously, the simulacrum of the internet, the reality that we all know it's fake. I mean, it's similar to politics where everyone knows all the politicians are lying, but then they go argue with their homie about which politician they like the most. And with music and the industry of music, we all know it's fake. We all know the entertainment game is beyond fake. You see how many people have Botox, are on Ozempic, have gotten facelifts, butt lifts, injections, collagen, you name the type of things that people have to do to stay relevant in entertainment. It involves a lot of fakeness. We know that the rappers lie all the time. You got very wealthy rappers saying they still in the hood and selling dope. They never sold dope. They've been wealthy their whole life. You got a whole bunch of other rappers saying that they're really wealthy and sold a bunch of records. They ain't sold nary a record. Not a record at all. They live at home with their moms. And are involved in nefarious activity because their records aren't selling. But they want to tell you they're driving a Bugatti. And we know it's a lie. All the people that say they weren't snitching, that they're snitching. The snitching is very real in contemporary hip hop. Like the police have been infiltrating the world of hip hop since before we knew it was hip hop, because the police were infiltrating the mob world of how music works, you know. And I want nothing to do with it. Like, if you've ever actually worked in the music business and worked in the industry, the number of nefarious and unscrupulous and detrimental elements that just surround, it's unbelievable. And again, every industry has its own problems. There is no field when it comes to profiteering and capitalism to where everything is altruistic and everything is benign. But when it comes to music, you have an interesting place, because we know the mob at different times was heavily involved in recorded music, involved in live performances, and involved in the alcohol trade. We know that the alcohol trade is one of the foundations of live music when it comes to you perform in a bar, and if you don't sell enough drink, the bar doesn't invite you back, right? We know that artists have to pay bar guarantees, so the venue sometimes doesn't care how many people you bring to the show, how much liquor gets sold. We know that. You notice how Seagram's or Cavassier or Diageo or Louis Vuitton Hennessy, how closely tied they are to the music industry. So right there, with one of the two main partners of music were either organized crime or alcohol, well, then what kind of business do you think you're going to be in? Even if there are lawyers, even if there are accountants, even if there are marketing people, you're in a business that's been heavily influenced by organized crime and alcohol. Then you start adding in the prison industrial elements and what happens when you can use an art form to criminalize whole culture. Oh, we're not even going to get into that right now. And then when you get on the personal level, like, do you ever hang out with people that own or run bars or clubs? Some of them are cool. A lot of them, though, have the stress of managing a restaurant, a bar, or a club, and may manage some of that stress with cocaine, may manage that stress with amphetamines, may manage that stress with extreme amounts of alcohol intake. And me personally, after 15, 20 years of working in nightlife and being at the venue, at the club, at the bar, 5 to 6 nights out of 7, I understand why people think it's fun and how you can figure out how to navigate, even if, like, I don't do cocaine. I've never done cocaine. We don't do that. But I had to work with people that did. And it was very obvious that they were on cocaine. I don't do ketamine. Had to work with a lot of people that are on ketamine. I drank, but I wasn't the type of person that drank and then cursed people out or try to break walls and punch people in the face. I had to work with people who did that. I had to work with folks that would remember nothing from the night before because of how much drugs they were on. I've had to work in places where people overdose at the place. I don't want to go to work and have people overdose. You know, there's so many parts of music, and that's like just the indie Brooklyn scene. When you get into like larger venues and you get into the extortion, coercion, the mistreatment of people, the disrespect, the leveraging money and fame and wealth, it's all types of gross stuff happening within the music industry. But there's also this beauty of, if you make art or music, you get to meet some of the most creative and interesting and, in my mind, like, wonderful people that you could ever meet. And folks that live in a way that is not traditional because they don't have a 9-to-5 and they get paid traveling the damn earth, sharing their thoughts and feelings. That's dope to be around people that have that aura and have that, like, energy output and have that awareness of how spoken word does change the world, right? The rhythm that starts at the heartbeat that turns into a drum beat can actually change the world. And being around other artists, knowing that, is so powerful. So don't get me wrong that, like, that the music business or industry is all bad. It's not. It's amazing people in it. But what interest would I have as a 47-year-old in the business of that? What I'm interested in is the people. I'm interested in the performances. I'm interested in the art. I'm interested in the self-exploration. I'm interested in the interpersonal dynamics. I'm interested in how, when you can't make a plan, what your brain has to do. in order to manage and accommodate. And I like how in music, I can't make a 10 or 15-year plan. There is no step ladder of, if I do this, then this happens. It's amazing of like, I have to ride the wave. And I love riding the wave of artistic expression and a life of art, not a job of art. And I think that's also brings me back into like, I don't want to be compartmentalized. I want to be a whole person. And the internet makes me feel like you have to compartmentalize. It makes me feel like your YouTube channel is for this, your Instagram is for this, your Twitter is for this, your name the different thing. It's for something different and you present yourself differently. Or you're supposed to start 4 accounts and be slightly different in each one and do A/B testing to figure out what people respond to. In my real life, I don't walk around trying to figure out if people like me or not. Now, again, I don't want to be a jerk. I don't want to be rude. I don't want to be disrespectful. I enjoy other people. I am human, and I do have a feeling of I like being liked, but not at the expense of losing self, not at the expense of, I'm old, so it's like, don't do corny shit. So not at the expense of doing corny shit. And the internet has a bunch of folks doing corny shit just because they are trying to get art in their music to people. I don't want to play that game. If I'm going to play a game of get my art and music to people, it's going to be real life. I'm going to have physical copies of my artwork. I'm going to have physical copies of my music. I'm going to have tangible items that I can give to people, leave with people, have relics, have artifacts, have items that contain texture. So it's more than just an idea. Like so much of what I do in music is an idea. You hear the song and then we talk about the subject matter in it, and it's ideas, it's feelings. It's not something tangible. I at least want to give you a tape or a record or something tangible, a sticker, something so when you think of the ideas or when you think of, I was talking to Chris about ideological construction of orthodoxy and heresy in the 15th century, looking specifically at the Franciscan order and its relationship with the Catholic Church, that you then have a physical reminder of that conversation, right? I want to make sure that if you engage with my artwork, it's not just because it came up on your Instagram screen and you scrolled past it right after 30 other images. I want it to be a moment, like, and even if these moments are fleeting, like one thing I also have to remember is none of it matters in the universe. Grain of sand, like we are the grain of sand, there's a universe, nothing matters. But in being the grain of sand, look at the magnitude of all these other grains of sand that I have the ability to engage with. And it is important for me to let folks that, like, there is something in me that wants folks to know, like, I am and was alive. Like the people in my life that I've met, I want to share their stories. The people that have told me stories who I don't know so well, and I've been like mind blown by their ability to have fortitude and persist and to find joy in life. I want to share that with people. I want people to hear all the, like, I run into so many people, or I run into such a large number of people that are passionate, committed, and have not given up on humanity, have not given up on themselves, have not given up on their families in situations where they should have, and they still didn't. I want to share that with people. The number of people who say, well, humans inherently hate each other. I want to show people the opposite. I want to show people that from what I see, humans love each other. From what I see, someone said, like, are humans inherently good or bad? I can't answer that question, but I do think humans have an inherent drive to protect each other and take care of each other and be empathetic to each other. And it's one of our greatest qualities, and that's one of the reasons why we live in community with each other. So in modern times, you could be told that's not the case. We're individualistic. We're rugged individualists. We're capitalists. We're loners. We don't like being around other people. Other people are dangerous. There are all these things that can make you say, oh, wow, it looks like humans are bad for each other. I got to show the other side of it. I have to show the other elements and perspectives. And for me, I like showing that actually humans love each other. Actually, humans do a lot to sacrifice for each other and for other life. I just talked to one of my neighbors. She found a kitten that was sick and famished and malnourished and emaciated. And she spent the past 46 days trying to revive this kitten. Who knows how much time and effort she put into this being that she had no connection to. The cat walked up into her 46 days trying to revive this kitten. Who knows how much time and effort she put into this being that she had no connection to. The cat walked up into her yard and wanted to go hide in her porch. She's like, no, we got to help this kitten. I see that more than anything else. And when I hear these, but I want to remind people of that the natural order of things are these squirrels running around in front of me, these birds chirping, and they're not calling anybody the N-word. They're not telling you that the world is about to end and it's the Republicans' fault or the Democrats' fault or the yada yada. And I got to remind people that no matter what these people in power try to tell you, we still have power as humans. And maybe we should let go of this notion of power in the first place. And I want to be able to do that in my rap. I don't want to have to worry about how many likes I'm getting, if it's trendy, if it fits a new structure of how you're supposed to adapt or work with the algorithm. I don't want to think about the algorithm. I want to think about how I can have more time feeling connected to these birds and squirrels. I want to think about how I can have more time doing shows with the homies that I like. I want to think about how I can write the illest raps that I never wrote yet. Like, I'm like battling myself in the future of how to be the illest ever. But for me, not like the illest rapper ever, like in the sense of compare me to other rappers. No. The illest rapper that I could have been, and what that even means in the first place. I'd rather spend time thinking about that than the algorithm. I'd rather figure out how to get the carrots to grow, because it's November and we're still growing carrots out here. I'm worried about that. I'm trying to figure out how to fix up the house, and we just pulled out all this cabinetry, and I don't know how to do home renovations, but I'm gonna have to learn. So right now, the raps and the art and the creativity as life need to be shared with people. And I want y'all to come see it. So whether we're upstate or in central New York, whether we are in Washington, D.C. at the new spot we're about to set up. Oh, and I'll show you what we're going to do out here. We already got the carrots going right there. You see those carrots? And so we'll probably do some more bushes and small trees in that back corner. Set up a little seating area, bushes, small trees up here, and then a lot of the veggies up front, and then the lacrosse goal up there. But if you want to know more about what we do, holler at me. I'm easy